It started like any other lively night on late-night TV, with Jimmy Kimmel welcoming none other than the legendary Christopher Walken to the show. The audience gave a roaring applause as Walken walked in, his presence commanding and mysterious as always. Dressed in his signature dark attire, he sat across from Kimmel, offering a polite yet stoic smile. Jimmy, known for his humorous and edgy questions, kicked things off with light banter, praising Walken's iconic roles in cinema. Christopher played along at first, nodding subtly and responding with short, cryptic answers that made the audience chuckle. However, as the conversation continued, something seemed off. Jimmy leaned into more personal territory, asking about Walken's past views and opinions in a way that caught the actor slightly off guard. The air shifted, Walken's expressions grew tighter, and his legendary calm began to show cracks. The tension began to escalate when Jimmy asked about Walken's views on the current state of Hollywood, specifically regarding younger actors and the evolving political climate in the film industry. Christopher, known for being private and often enigmatic in interviews, replied cautiously, saying, "I don't talk politics." But Jimmy pushed further, trying to get a humorous soundbite, joking, "Come on, Christopher, even you have an opinion on TikTok stars winning Oscars." The audience laughed, but Walken didn't. His eyes narrowed slightly as he leaned forward and said, "Just because I don't shout doesn't mean I have nothing to say." Jimmy, sensing the seriousness, tried to laugh it off again, but the actor's tone had already signaled that the line had been crossed. Noticing the audience's reaction, Jimmy awkwardly transitioned to a question about Walken's recent film role, but by then, Christopher's mood had clearly shifted. He responded flatly, not giving the usual engaging anecdotes expected in such segments. Jimmy then tried to lighten things up by showing an old clip of Walken dancing in a music video, joking about his moves and asking if he still dances like that. Walken smirked for a second but quickly replied, "I was younger then. I don't dance for laughs now." It was evident that the actor wasn't enjoying the direction of the conversation. The usual playful rhythm of a talk show was slowly turning into a standoff. The moment things truly went off track was when Jimmy mentioned a controversial comment Walken had made in an old interview, suggesting that some roles today lack depth compared to earlier Hollywood scripts. "So," Jimmy said, "do you think modern films are just noise with explosions?" Walken's face hardened. "You're misquoting me," he said sharply. Jimmy tried to clarify that it was just a joke, but Walken wasn't amused. "When you twist words, even as a joke, you change their meaning," he stated calmly but firmly. There was a noticeable silence. The atmosphere, once light-hearted and energetic, now felt like a pressure cooker about to explode. Attempting to regain control, Jimmy asked a silly question about whether Walken had ever been mistaken for another celebrity in public. Instead of playing along, Walken replied, "I didn't come here to play games." Jimmy, that response drew a mix of gasps and nervous laughs from the audience. Kimmel was visibly trying to recalibrate, but Walken wasn't giving him an inch. He then spoke candidly, "I agreed to do this because I thought we'd talk about my craft, my work, not old jokes and internet memes." It was a rare, vulnerable moment. One of Hollywood's most enigmatic actors expressing raw disapproval on live television. Jimmy mumbled a half apology, but the momentum was clearly gone. The interview reached its tipping point when Jimmy, perhaps trying to lighten the mood one last time, made a sarcastic comment about Walken's famously intense on-screen presence, joking, "You ever scare yourself in the mirror?" The crowd laughed, but Walken didn't. He stood up slowly, looked at Jimmy and said, "This is beneath both of us." There was no yelling, no dramatic gesture, saw just Walken's chilling calm that made the moment even more intense. Jimmy, taken aback, stood up slightly in response, trying to say, "Christopher, come on. It's just a show," but the damage was done. Walken removed his mic, dropped it gently on the couch, and walked off stage without another word. The studio fell silent for a second before erupting into confused murmurs. Jimmy was left stunned, staring at the empty chair as cameras continued rolling. "Well, he said awkwardly. That was a broken bar, unexpected. He attempted to spin it with humor, but his usual charisma couldn't erase the awkwardness. Viewers at home were already screen recording, posting clips online with captions like "Walken walks out," and that got real fast. Within minutes, the incident trended across platforms. Late-night viewers were split, some praising Walken for standing up for himself, others accusing him of overreacting to a few jokes. By the next morning, every entertainment outlet was running headlines. Walken storms off Kimmel, Clash of the Titans, Christopher vs. Jimmy, and late-night drama unfolds on air everywhere. Social media was ablaze with hot takes. Some celebrities sided with Walken, saying it was refreshing to see someone demand respect in an increasingly sensational media environment. Others defended Jimmy, noting that his show is known for its irreverent tone. The public debate quickly turned into a broader conversation about late-night television culture, respect for legacy artists, and how interviews have become more about viral moments than meaningful conversations. Later that day, Walken's publicist released a short statement. Mr. Walken chose to exit the segment after realizing the conversation no longer reflected his values or intentions for the appearance. He thanks the viewers for their continued support. Jimmy Kimmel's team also issued a statement. "We appreciate Christopher Walken joining us. We regret any discomfort and respect his decision to leave the segment early." The professionalism of both responses calmed some of the online frenzy. But the internet never forgets. The clip of Walken's quiet storm-off became one of the most replayed late-night moments of the year. Several days later, Jimmy made a tongue-in-cheek comment about the incident in his monologue, saying, "At least he didn't throw a chair." The audience laughed, but the moment still hung in the air as a reminder of the thin line comedians and hosts walk when interviewing guests with long, respected careers. Christopher Walken, meanwhile, continued his press tour, but on quieter platforms, so radio, printed interviews, and podcasts where conversations were more thoughtful and controlled. His fans admired his poise, while critics debated whether he should have handled it differently. Regardless of opinion, the incident had made an impression. Behind the scenes, talk show producers began to reflect. Booking legendary actors like Walken came with the responsibility. They weren't just promoting their work, they were carrying decades of artistry. Many shows adjusted their prep routines, adding deeper research and respect to their segments. The Walken incident, subtle as it seemed compared to louder celebrity dramas, left a deep impression on how mature stars should be treated in modern media. The Walken-Kimmel moment also led to a wave of memes. His stern face mid-interview became the image of "when you're done with everyone's nonsense." While humorous, the meme reminded people how rare it is to see someone walk away without shouting, just a silent stand of dignity. Even Walken's fans started circulating quotes from his older interviews about keeping things real, showing how consistent he's been about authenticity. As time passed, the event remained a key highlight in both men's careers for different reasons. Jimmy Kimmel's approach faced scrutiny and led to small shifts in tone for future interviews, while Christopher Walken became an unexpected symbol of artistic integrity. In an age of media noise and instant reactions, his exit became a lesson in drawing boundaries with grace. Christopher Walken never publicly discussed the event again, but insiders claimed he had no regrets. He believed in meaningful dialogue and wasn't afraid to walk away when the setting no longer honored that. That decision resonated deeply with audiences who were growing tired of manufactured TV moments and began craving more sincerity. In that regard, Walken's walk-off wasn't just dramatic, it was a statement. And so, what began as another night on Jimmy Kimmel Live turned into a cultural moment that sparked thought, debate, and a reevaluation of how legacy artists are treated in modern media. Christopher Walken's calm exit proved that sometimes the most powerful move isn't shouting or arguing, but simply standing up, saying nothing, and walking away when the moment no longer deserves you.